from Ecclesiastes that two are better than one, we are told. It's because they have a better return on their labor. They just get more done. And when one falls down, the other helps them up. And when attacked, they can defend themselves. And if two are good, well, three is even better. A cord of three strands is not easily broken. Or as a traditional proverb says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Most of the time when you hear the word network, what do you think of? Wi-Fi. And I've never heard anyone say their Wi-Fi is too fast. It's always too slow. But what if a network was where I found people who would remind me that I'm not crazy to think what I think or believe in the kind of God I believe in? What if a network was where I learned something I didn't know I didn't know? What if a network was where I discovered that others needed something I had, which I didn't even know that I had? What if we produced more and were more effective and traveled further and with more joy because we were together? And what if a network of like-minded Jesus collaborators could embody a subversive counter-narrative to the dominant narratives found in some parts of the church and society? Well, then I'd no longer be thinking Wi-Fi. Then I might just sign up. Well, those things precisely are the dream of the network that we call Refugee Highway Partnership. There is no institution behind this. There's no organization backing this up. There are no staff. There's just you and me and you and you and you. We are it, friends. But here's the thing. We can be enough. Because you see, a cord of three strands is not easily broken.
At the turn of the century, the World Evangelical Alliance and a few other stakeholders talked about gathering refugee workers and churches and people together in Turkey. At that time, the RHP, the Refugee Highway Partnership, was born. Partners gathering together along the refugee highway. That's all it is. To encourage, to share, to mobilize the church, to be together, to see if we can make a difference in the whole gathering momentum of forcible displacement in our world. There's cultural differences, there's resource differences, there's dynamic differences. And so the RHP is not a top-down organization that has an effective means for everyone to pull into line and operate the same way. No, it's just us gathering and them gathering and then all of us connecting. My first RHP event was traveling to England in 2005. We had just launched Journey Home Community a few months before, and I was invited to attend this global event, and I did. And wouldn't you know it, I met another Canadian there, a worker from World Vision Canada. They had just started a Canadian program for helping fund newly emerging organizations like ours. And so in England, I met a partner from World Vision who helped launch us and our funding. I see Jennifer here from Texas, running a shelter there for people who've been in detention and for asylum seekers making their way through. And as we connected last roundtable here in North America, and since then, she's talked about how meeting people here have helped her find homes across the country to help these newly arriving asylum seekers that come through her center. So we can see how all of these ripples just keep happening because we're part of the highway. And I hope that you can find your place on the highway with us.
Somebody contacted me through the social media account RHP has and said, "This work is hard and draining. I'd like to connect with others and pray and encourage each other." And so I was able to connect Jonathan with others in Minneapolis where he lives. But he said it so well. It's hard and draining. We need ways that we can be encouraged and supported in what we do, that we can keep our hope in the God who called us to this work. And so we join together in prayer and look to God to do things that we cannot do. We resource, encourage, lament, and rejoice with each other, and we can do this virtually through a private social media account called Slack. We have a Facebook page, a private Facebook group, an Instagram account, a Twitter account, to try and counter the narratives that are going on and to help each other to have stories that we can share. So we have a newsletter, we have a blog, we also have the Beyond Sound Bites podcast.
I'm Jacob Mell. Welcome to episode 7 of Beyond Sound Bites. This podcast is produced in collaboration with the Refugee Highway Partnership North America, a network of churches, ministries, and individuals serving forcibly displaced people in the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah, so as part of the strategy to help strengthen and grow the RHP here in North America, a couple of years ago, the leadership team formed a new role that they're calling community ambassadors. The role of the ambassador is to raise awareness of the network and specifically to help people get connected to each other and get connected into this global network of people who love Jesus and who love refugees. The last few years, we've begun to experiment with holding some of these one-day regional gatherings where we bring Christians involved with refugees in a particular geographic region together for one day of spiritual encouragement and mutual learning. The first regional gathering was held in 2015 in my home city of Hamilton, and it was really just a pilot to see if this could work. There's lots of people who are involved with refugees in their communities who cannot dedicate 3 days to travel to come to an event like this, but they would really benefit from being together in a place where it's a couple hours drive from where they live and where they can meet people working hard in their little patch, their little strip of this refugee highway. I was in Winnipeg in March, and there was 90 people that came together to have a one-day event of worship and prayer and learning together. And many of them had never met each other before, but they left that day finding each other, finding people that they can collaborate with and partner with. And we would also love to see more regional events happening across North America.
It really does matter, you know, us. Not because we're amazing, but because we're not. And because for some unexplained reason, God has chosen us, these cracked jars of clay, as the New Testament calls us. The New Testament calls us crackpots. Did you know that? These cracked jars of clay to walk with the displaced people that God made and God loves, us. Even Jesus did his journey with a team. Even Jesus. And one time when a prophet who lived hundreds of years before Jesus, when that prophet crashed and burned, it's because he felt all alone. Do you remember the story? And God told him to eat some food, get some sleep, and get back into the game. We can't do this alone. We can't do this alone because the people we serve matter too much for us to try to do this alone.